Hello, my friends. I'm going to tell you a story today, and I'll try to keep it quick. Once upon a time, my husband was walking two of our dogs, Jasper and Stanley. Now, Stanley is the biggest, gentlest giant you'll ever meet. He is got the softest, sweetest disposition, and he is very tolerant of dogs and puppies, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful dog. Jasper was my soul dog, right? We had this connection that still I miss him every day. And Jasper was also the dog who taught me so much about dog training, and he required me to be a better leader for him. He could be overly reactive on leash, dog reactive on leash. And so it I did a lot of work with him, a lot of work with him. And so I was the primary trainer, go figure. And so I did all this work with him, and so I could walk him, and we developed this really beautiful relationship when we were out walking, right? I could read his body and he could read my intention, like we were connected. I was not here for this incident. Michael was walking the two dogs, and he was at this little park. We were in Colorado at the time. He was walking these dogs at this little park, and there was someone with an off-leash dog. And Michael didn't like the body language of this dog. So he was like keeping an eye, where is that dog? Where is that person in that dog? Where is that person in that dog? You know, and so like they were on opposite sides of the park. And so, you know, Michael's kind of always keeping an eye on him. And there came a point where Michael stopped and was watching this person to figure out, you know, which direction are they going to go? Are they going to go that way, or are they going to go this way? So that he could make his decision based on what they were going to do. Because he didn't like the dog's body language, and he knew that if the dog got close enough that there would be potentially trouble with Jasper. And by this time, Jasper was older. So he had to have been like 9, maybe, at this point. Because Stanley was you know, not a puppy at this point. So Jasper had to have been like 9. So the spirit was very strong in Jasper, but the physical body was not, right? He was getting older. And so there's always, when you have that older dog, there's always that concern that they might get hurt in an altercation. So anyway, so Michael's watching this dog, and Jasper was a little bit in front of him, and I think he was standing right next to Jasper, and Walter or Stanley was behind Michael. And sure enough, this dog took off. He's off leash, and he's running straight towards us, or towards Michael, straight towards Michael. And Michael is like, you know, kind of assessing, like preparing, like, what am I going to do? Da da da. And before he even could, from behind him, here came Stanley, full charge, full barrel charge, all the way to the end of his leash, just going crazy. And this dog was like, what? Put on the brakes and like skidded, you know, was like, ah, ah. And he came around the backside to try and approach Jasper again. Like Jasper didn't even have a chance to make a sound. And Stanley turned around and like met that charge head on. And by this time, of course, you know, the guy is yelling at his dog, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, runs up and collects his dog. And so, you know, so Michael comes home and he's like, wow, you won't believe what happened. You know, our soft, sweet dog really, you know, when push comes to shove, he'll stand up. And what's interesting about that experience is that it highlights, how loyal and how bonded Stanley is to his family, right? And that's something that we all want from our animals, is that deep connection, that willingness to put themselves in that situation. And here's the funny thing. When I look at that now, the trainer part of me says, oh, well, there's kind of a lack of trust there. And you're like, wait, what do you mean, Jennifer? What do you mean? Well, one of the aspects of leadership, true leadership, is proactive, what I like to call proactive leadership or proactive intervention. You're proactive, you're not reactive. You're acting ahead of time, not after the fact. So when I work with a lot of clients with overly reactive dogs, this is one of those situations that happens a lot because the dog is feeling very vulnerable. And so, because they don't feel like their owner is going to step in appropriately, it's on their shoulders to react. I guess a good way to think about it, in the old Westerns, where like, all the families outside doing, chores, and here comes the bad guy, runs up or rides up, dun dun dun, and the like rancher or the dad like comes in, and like he just stands in front of his family like, you got to go through me first if you're going to get to my family. Okay? That is exactly what a true leader will do, right? You've got to go through me first before you get to those people that matter to me. And that is how your dogs need to see you. They need to know that you are the first line of defense, because if you are not the first line of defense, it falls on their shoulders to be the first line of defense. And the challenge with that, again, the occasional incidence of this is not what I'm talking about. But when this happens consistently over and over and over again, to where your dog doesn't understand that you are in that proactive leadership position, then they start to feel very vulnerable, and they can feel very anxious, and it starts to bleed into other areas of their life quite often. And when it comes to overly reactive dogs, the walk on Monday, I had to intervene for myself. Mom didn't see that other dog approaching. And then on Tuesday, Mom again let this other dog approach and get into my space. And then on Wednesday, Mom didn't step in. So guess what's going to happen on Thursday? Excuse me, the dog will not wait until that the dog gets in their space. They're going to proactively, right, intervene. They are going to proactively respond to that dog because they have been shown that Mom is not going to proactively intervene. She will reactively intervene, meaning once the dog gets close, once the dog makes contact, once the dog the other dog initiates a conversation, and I respond, and then Mom reacts. That's a reactive leadership, right? Reactive. You're reacting to what's happening. You're not proactively keeping your dog safe. And that's one of the ideas that many people miss. And it's not just in overly reactive dogs. It's in a lot of areas with our dogs, in that we are not proactively anticipating what's going to happen and guiding ahead of time, right? Leadership is a guiding hand, not a closed fist after the fact. So proactive intervention, proactive leadership instead of reactive is what's going to rebalance, one of the aspects that's going to rebalance your leadership and make you the kind of person that your dog feels safe with and trusts and respects. So, reactive leadership instead of proactive leadership is not where you want to go. You want proactive leadership, proactive intervention. You need to assess the situation before your dog assesses and has a reaction. So, something to think about. Think about your how your dog might be perceiving you. Are they behind you saying, "We got your back, but you got to go through mom or dad first"? Or are they in front of you saying, "You got to get through me first before you're going to get to them"? You know, maybe you're side by side, like we're together, we're a team. What you don't want to be is behind your dog saying, "Yeah, you make your decisions, and then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to support you, or I'm going to yell at you after the fact." Proactive intervention, proactive leadership. You got to get through me first to keep your dog safe. I assess the situation. That is what's going to rebalance leadership in your dog's perspective, in your dog's mind. Proactive intervention. Until next time, may you always have a dog to love.